Welcome to Auto Chatter. Today I'll be discussing the Suzuki X90. As always, facts, opinions, and speculation will be given. Please give a like and subscribe, as it means a lot. Click the bell so you will know the instant that silly Auto Chatter guy is at it again. Now, let's discuss one of the weirdest vehicles sold in the US from the 1990s. The X90 is a rare bird. The name, I think, is a play on Gen Xers, so there's the X part. The 90? Maybe because it was the 90s? If they called it a X95, it could have been its horsepower number. Suzuki only sold X90s in the US for the 96 to 98 model years. What Suzuki did was take a Suzuki Sidekick or Geo-Tracker, but gave it a new body that was a two-seater with a trunk. It had more rounded lines than the more truck-looking Sidekick and Trackers, and it had T-tops. I think the T-tops are cool, but by 96 it was a trend that was almost gone by this point. They started in the 70s because a lot of anti-convertible sentiment and rumors the government may ban them, and they flourished too in the 1980s. By 96, the only other cars I can think of with T-tops was the final year 300ZX, the Nissan 300ZX, and the Pontiac Firebird Chevy Camaros. This thing had four-wheel drive available, and we're not talking about some all-wheel drive system more common now. This is a rear-wheel drive vehicle with a real four-wheel drive system with two-speed transfer case and auto-locking front hubs. I think with a little suspension lift and better tires, this thing would be quite the off-roader. It was light too. This little guy weighed about 2,500 pounds and is 10 inches shorter than a current Mazda Miata, and not much heavier. So it has truck bones, but they were trying to make it more like a car? Only the 90s could create something like this. I'm not sure who the target audience was. I mean, yeah, it was going for a youth market, but it just didn't make sense to me. Maybe it didn't with Suzuki either. The print ads would show a X90 picture stating, "What are you staring at?" Honestly, I didn't know. And I was the target age for these when they were new. The styling was so mixed messages weird. And let me paint a picture. In 1996, you could stroll into a Suzuki car lot and you see a Sidekick and an X90. They cost about the same, $15,000 or so, which is about $28,000 today. They both had the same four-cylinder engine with 95 horsepower, same powertrains, automatic or 5-speed manual, two or four-wheel drive. But the Sidekick had a back seat available, or at the very least more cargo room due to the roof design. And it at least tried to look like the SUV it actually was. What's the X90 doing? It's not like a Mazda Miata where you made compromises in space for fun performance. This thing made compromises in space and utility to do nothing more than a Sidekick could do on or off-road for the most part. Less actually, as they put more car-like tires on it. And remember, the pricing was about the same. It looked more like a fun car, but doesn't drive like one. It's a little truck with a trunk, T-tops, and a rear spoiler. Which do you pick? I would have taken the "I can't afford a Jeep Wrangler, so this will do" versus the "I always wanted a truck-like SUV with T-tops, Mazda Miata trunk space, and seat count." Needless to say, it didn't sell well. They sold about 7,200 of them between 1996 and 1998 in the US. It got a few infamous awards too over the years. There is a parody award show for Hollywood called the Golden Raspberry Awards, or the Razzies for short. It's not an award you want. Basically only really bad acting or movies get one. Well, the X90 got a few automotive awards that don't give praise. Top Gear magazine listed it as one of the worst cars in the last 20 years in 2013. More recently, Motor Trend named it number 1 for worst car of the 1990s list they made in 2022. In 2020, it made Motor Trend's list for ugliest cars of the 1990s too. Wikipedia has a list of automobiles known for negative reception, and the X90 is there. My wife thinks it's cute, like those Power Wheel electric cars and trucks you buy for little kids, or something you put your Barbie doll in. Neither of these I would call glowing endorsements. There was a company that bought a few of these though. I don't know how many were converted, but Red Bull had some modified X90s with their big can on display. The trunk was converted to a cooler to hold cans that opened each side clamshell style. Red Bull went on to convert Mini Coopers too in the 2000s. My memories of X90s were seeing these Red Bull ones for the most part, and the weird in-your-face, so 90s advertising. I feel fortunate to actually see one again though. This may be the first one I've seen in 15 years. The one I've been showing video of belongs to a coworker. It has 68,000 miles or so, quite low for a 96 model. It's a four-wheel drive automatic. It's very original too. The seats are not, and someone removed the inside door panel fabric, which was originally very 90s loud, like the original seats were too. The dash was lifted straight from the Sidekick geo-trackers, as are the switches and center console area, which makes sense as they are very related vehicles. The T-tops came with protective bags and would fit in the trunk. Popping the hood release on these is done through the glove box like a Sidekick or geo-tracker, if you want to see the 95 horsepower beast within. It's so weird and relatively rare. I wouldn't be surprised if X90 survivors may start becoming valuable to some extent. I mean, you couldn't give away an AMC Pacer at one point, but there's a cult following for them now, and they made a lot more Pacers than they did X90s. So maybe if you find a good one, it's worth hanging on to for a while. If anything, it's certain to attract attention. This has been my chatter on the Suzuki X90. I hope you enjoyed it. If you own one or have memories of an X90, please comment, as I'd love to hear about it. As always, thank you for watching, and please like and subscribe. Chatter out.